Namaste ne Jai Jinendra Badane. Ajno class is going to be delivered by Dr. Vinodbhai Kapashi OBE, an eminent Jain scholar who really needs no introduction. He has delivered talks to OAUK Jain classes in the past. Vinodbhai is going to be delivering 3 sessions in the next 3 weeks on Tuesday, and it's going to be on Bhaktamar Stotra. He will be explaining in English the importance and meaning and how Bhaktamar Stotra can help in our daily lives. Just a few housekeeping points. Please keep yourself muted. If you have a question, raise your hand and we will get Vinodbhai to ask you the question. Otherwise, please keep yourself muted. You are allowed to keep your videos on if you want to, and you will be able to put questions in the chat as well. So over to you, Vinodbhai.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you, Kavitbhai. Thank you for the introduction. Our topic is Bhaktamar Stotra today. It's a very interesting subject, and I'm sure everyone would like it, would enjoy, and of course, we'll have something to learn from this beautiful stotra. Right. I think you all can see this, and let's begin. We will finish in 3 lectures. Of course, there are 44, 48 verses. Each and every verse is very good, worth remembering, worth knowing the hidden meaning behind it, and of course the mantras and yantras behind that. So, without further ado, let's begin. Bhaktamar Stotra. You might have heard about the Nav Smarana, 9 sacred recitations. They're very important in Jain religion. And people learn them. People try to remember. Bhaktamar Stotra is one of these 9 recitations. It's number 7 in the list of Now Smaran. Now means 9. Smaran is recitations, something we must remember. That's called Smaran. Now, this has an unique place in Jain Stotra literature. Stotra means a poem in Sanskrit or Prakrit or sometimes even in Gujarati in praise of Bhagwan, in praise of God, or sometimes we ask for a favor from our Lord. But there are, and I'm not exaggerating this, more than 5,000 stotras are there in Jain literature. And this one, particularly this, is considered a devotional poem par excellence. Now I'll explain why. Because in Jain literary field, I mean, this stotra, particularly this stotra, we cannot ignore or overlook. There are people in both in India and outside who can recite this stotra with ease and precision of pronunciation. I'm sure you might have heard even little children singing this, reciting this in temples or in assembly halls. And they do it without any mistake. As I said here, in fact, there are small children, even outside India, whose mother tongue is not Gujarati, Hindi, or Sanskrit, but they have remembered Bhaktamar Stotra by heart and can recite all the verses of the Stotra. That too, effortlessly, without any hesitation. There are people who would recite this day and night. There are people who think that the Bhaktamar Stotra has immense power and can free man from all sorts of worries and difficulties. That we'll explore in the third lesson, obviously. Right. Bhaktamar Stotra, as I said, is very important. This is the only recitation on which the maximum numbers of books, audio cassettes, video cassettes are to be found. This has been translated into more than a dozen languages. I've seen German translation, English translation, even Italian translation, and of course, many languages in India like Gujarati, Hindi, Bengali, Marathi. These translations are available.
Sorry, Vinodbhai.
Various writers,
Vinodbhai, can you put your PowerPoint on presentation? I think it's on. Yes, we are seeing your screen at the moment.
Your screen, okay,
If you
let
put
me
it on
see.
presentation,
Mm-hmm.
right at the bottom, next to where the slide is for the making it bigger and smaller, there is a
Yeah,
little book next
let's
to it.
see.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Is it okay now?
No. So press that slideshow. The slideshow. Press it again. The one next to the book at the bottom.
Yeah, I'll do that. Sorry for that. Yeah. How about this?
Yeah, that's better.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably want to move. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's coming properly.
Thank you.
Now, Stotra's importance also lies in the fact that there are at least 3 beautiful temples in India totally devoted to this stotra. That means if you go to that temple, you will see all the verses carved in marble with a little shrine on each verse. So it's so beautiful. And you will see the importance of it. People worship each and every verse. And the statues of the first Tirthankar Rishabhdev and the poet of this sutra have been erected in this temple. Why Rishabhdev statue? Because the whole stotra has been composed in praise of Rishabhdev Bhagwan, our first Tirthankar. And the poet was Mantung Suri. So his statues are already erected. You will see that in these temples. Now, apart from the religious importance, apart from the power it has got, the mantras it has got, there is one more thing. Anyone who loves good poetry will be touched by the beauty of the composition. That we'll see. Anyone who has no faith, remember, anyone who has no faith but wants to examine or evaluate the poem from a literary angle will no doubt praise the beautiful, masterly composition. Therefore, it's hardly surprising that those who have an unwavering faith in the Tirthankaras regard this as a gem of devotional literature, capable of making a devotee immortal. Now, again, why those who like good poetry like this? The poetic word selection in this stotra, the act of comparison of attributes of the Tirthankara to that of the sun or moon or the deepest ocean is just spellbinding. We'll see this in various stotras, in various verses. One goes on reading the stotra and slowly gets immersed in the atmosphere that it creates. People not only recite this at homes or temples, but some worship it. Remember, but some people worship it by way of reciting mantras associated with it, and some even worship the yantra diagrams associated with it. There is a proper ritual of worship, specially devised, that's called Bhaktamar Pujan. You might have attended Bhaktamar Pujan. So this has been specially devised where lay people join in the ceremony and pay their respect to every verse of the stotra. It is worth noting that the importance of the stotra has increased with the passage of time. Right? How many verses are there? I'm not going to take this particular thing right now. Maybe in the second or third lecture. The argument or discussion about the total number of verses in the Bhaktamar Stotra. You know how many verses are there? Some people say 44, isn't it? Some say 48. Digambaras think or they believe that there are 48 verses. And Shwetambar Murti Pujaks, they believe that there are 44 verses. 44 gatha are there. But I'm not going to say more than this at this stage. Right. Something about the richness of the Sanskrit language in this particular stotra. Just one example. Surya, sun. How many different words are there in English language for sun? Right. In this stotra, look, Surya, that is sun, then Sahasra Kirana, the one which has got thousands of rays. So in place of sun, the poet is writing Sahasra Kiran. In some of the verses, the poet says Vivaswata. In some verses, Sahasra Rasmi. And in some verses, Aditya, then Ravi, then Bhanukar, then Divakar, and Dinakruta. So, just giving one example only. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different words instead of writing one word sun. Each and every word here, the meaning is sun, Surya. So that is the richness of the Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language is very rich. Similarly, there are different words describing moon, different words describing ocean, and right. Right. Let's begin with a first word, first verse rather. This has been written, of course, in English. What we'll do, just once, we'll sing the original one, which is written here. You can see it. And now, I hope you can read it and you know it. And in your mind, you will also recite this. The first verse. Now, before Sudha sings the first verse, I must tell you one thing. This has been composed in a meter, chand, called Vasanta Tilka. It's very difficult to compose a poem in a particular meter, chand. Why it is difficult? Because there are strict rules and regulations of composition. As for example, this must have 14 letters in each line. 14 letters in each line. And that too, long letter and short letter, and the composition has to be like this. So it's not easy to compose a Sanskrit poem in a particular chand. Vasantilka is just one of the meters in Sanskrit language. Now, if you count this English letters here, it won't be 14 because the way it is written in Sanskrit is 14 letters in each line. Right, let us sing this part. And there is a particular way of singing it. And I will explain the meaning immediately.
भक्तामर प्रणत मौली मणि प्रभाणा मुद्योतकं गलितपापतमोवितानम् सम्यक् प्रणम्य जिनपादयुगम् युगादावालम्बनं भवजले पततां जनानाम् यः संस्तुतः सकलवाङ्मयतत्त्वबोधा दुद्भूतबुद्धिपटुभिः सुरलोकनाथैः स्तोत्रै जगत्त्रितयचित्तहरे उदारै स्तोष्ये किलाहमपि तं प्रथमं जिनेन्द्रम्.
Right. The name of this stotra is Bhaktamar, right? Bhaktamar Stotra. Why it is called Bhaktamara? This one word Bhaktamara has been made from two different words, Bhakta and Amar. Bhakta is devotee and Amar is immortal. Immortal devotee. And who is that? Deva, celestial beings. And especially in our Jain religion, any stotra, any verse, any gatha or any particular poem, when you see the name, it's usually the first word of the stotra is the name of the whole stotra. So why it is called Bhaktamar Stotra? Because the first word is Bhaktamar. Why Uvasagaram Stotra is called Uvasagaram Stotra? Because the first word is Uvasagaram, Uvasagaram Pasam Pasam. Jai Virai is called because the first word is Jai Virai. So here the Bhaktamar Stotra, the name has come from the very first word, Bhaktamara. Right. The meaning. Remember, this has been composed in worship of Adinath Bhagwan, the first Tirthankara. And who is the first Tirthankara? Rushabdev Bhagwan, isn't it? And how do we know that this has been composed in praise of Rushabdev Bhagwan? See here, last line in this slide. Prathamam Jinendram. Can you say? Stoche kilahamapitam Prathamam Jinendram. Pratham Jinendra. Pratham is who? First. Jinendra is Tirthankar Bhagwan. So who is the first Tirthankar Bhagwan? Rushabdev Bhagwan. Otherwise, nowhere in this stotra you will see Rushabdev Bhagwan's name, Adinath Bhagwan's name, nothing. Just here it says Pratham Jinendra, first Tirthankar, and that is Adinath Bhagwan, that we know. So this is in praise of Lord Adinath. So, who is worshipping him? Bhaktamar, Amar Bhakta, immortal devotees, devas, they are worshipping him. They go to Adinath Bhagwan and they bow down. And what happens? When they bow down, look, I bow down at the lotus feet of the Lord, the very feet that can brighten the jewels in the crown worn by the devas who have come to worship him. So when the devas, semi-gods, when they go and bow down, They have got mugat, crown on their head. The crowns are very beautiful, very shiny, very bright. But when they bow down, even those crowns are faint because Lord's feet are brighter than those crowns. See how comparison is given. The very feet which are capable of removing the darkness of sins and are capable of rescuing the people engulfed in the transmigration of this samsara since time immemorial. Devas go, they bow down, and they praise Lord Rishabdev. I myself also bow down at the lotus feet of the Lord. And the feet have been described here. These 2 feet, they can brighten the jewels in the crown of Devas. So how bright those feet are. Even knuckle and the nails, they are so bright that the diamonds in the crown are nothing. And the second is the Devas who possess a great deal of knowledge of all the scripture and immense intelligence praise him and sing the stotra so beautifully that it captivates the people of 3 words. I too will now endeavor to sing the stotra in praise of the first Jinendra, the first Tirthankar, Rishabdev Bhagwan. As I said, first Jinendra, first Tirthankar, Rishabdev Bhagwan. In the stotra, it only says first Jinendra. It doesn't say Rishabdev Bhagwan, but we know it's Rishabdev Bhagwan because he is the first Tirthankar. So, these 2 verses are usually taken together because the complete meaning can only be derived by reading these 2 together. Let's see the third and fourth, and I'll explain a bit more. Buddhya
विनापि विबुधार्चितपादपीठ स्तोतुं समुद्यतमतिर्विगतत्रपोऽहम् बालं विहाय जलसंस्थितबिन्दुबिम्बम् मन्यः क इच्छति जनः सहसा ग्रहीतुम् वक्तुं गुणान् गुणसमुद्रशशाङ्ककान्तान् कस्ते क्षमासुरगुरु प्रतिमोऽपि बुद्धया कल्पान्तकालपवनोदतनक्रचक्रम् को वा तरीतुमम्बुनितिर्भुजायाम्.
O Lord, you are the one who is worshipped by the most intelligent ones. And I, on the other hand, is trying to worship you without having any intelligence. This seems like an shameless act. This is like an act of a child who wants to get hold of an image of the moon reflected in the water. See the humility. He feels as if he is very small. Who says this? Poet, Mantungacharya. He says that, O Lord, you are the one who is worshipped by the most intelligent ones. Intelligent people worship you. But me, I, on the other hand, is trying to worship you without having any intelligence. I'm not an intelligence person, and I am trying to worship you. It's beyond my capacity. I don't know how to worship you. I don't know how to describe you. So my act is rather a shameless act. And he compares, this is like an act of a child who wants to get hold of an image of the moon reflected in the water. A little child, there's a little story. A child wanted to touch the moon, and his mother put some water in the plate, and there was water. Because there was water in the plate, mother said, look, the moon is here in the plate, in the water. You want to touch it? So the child thought that he was touching the moon. So the comparison here is, this is like an act of a child who wants to get hold of an image of the moon reflected in the water. Moon is reflected in the water. There's no real moon there, not in the plate. But that little child thinks that he's going to get hold of it. So mine act is also like that. I'm not capable, I'm not intelligent, but I am trying to worship you now. I am trying to eulogize you now. And then it says, O ocean of virtues, even the guru of celestial beings with their immense wisdom is not capable of praising your virtues. These virtues are as blissful as the moon. Who can swim across the ocean, which is infested by crocodiles and is lashed by the hurricane wind blowing at the time of the destruction of the universe? You can swim with his bare hands. See the comparison. Even gurus, very intelligent people, very learned ones, they can't, they are not capable of praising you or your virtues, because your virtues are beyond any description. And what I am trying to do now, I am trying to swim in the ocean. This ocean is infested by crocodiles, and the hurricane wind is blowing. And I am trying to swim with my bare hands. But no one can do that. So what poet is trying to say, no one is capable of describing your virtues. No one can say that, oh, I will describe Lord Adinath Bhagwan's virtues, how he is, everything. No, I cannot do it. I have no capacity. That is what Mantungacharya is saying. Soham tathapi.
सोऽहं तथापि तव भक्तिवसान्मुनीश कर्तुं स्तवं विगतशक्तिरपि प्रवृत्ता प्रीत्यात्मवीर्यं विचार्य मृगेन्द्रं नाभ्येति किं निजशिशो परिपालनार्थम् अल्पश्रुतां सुतवतां परिहासधाम त्वद्भक्तिरेव मुखरी कुरुते बलान् माम् यत्कोकिलमदौ मधुरं विरौति तच्चारुचाम्रकलिकानिकरैकहेतु.
Right. Two beautiful verses. सोहम तथापि तव भक्ति वशान मुनिष कर्तुम स्तोम विगत शक्ति रपि प्रवृत्त प्रीत्यात्म वीर्य मृगोचार्य मृगो मृगेन्द्रम नाभ्येति किम निज शिशो परिपालनार्थम. Now, after the last verse, when the poet says that I am not capable, I am not very clever, I am not a learned person, so I am not able to sing the songs of your praise. So he admits his inability to sing the song of praise. And how he admits? Oh, the Lord of ascetics, it's only because of the devotion that I have embarked upon composing this stotra in spite of my lack of power. This is like an act of a mother dear who would forget about her own strength, and because of the love towards her offspring, confront a lion if it comes to protecting the child from that lion. See the comparison here. As I said, the poet admits that I am not capable to sing this song or to compose this stotra. So how he compare this thing? When he says that I am not capable, I am not worthy, but still I am doing it. Why I am doing it? Because this is like an act of a mother dear who would forget about her strength and confront a lion if it comes to saving her child. So that dear, mother dear knows, right, that she is not capable. But she also knows that lion is coming towards her and she will kill her little baby and herself. She has no choice but to save her offspring. She will try to fight a lion. So I too, I know my strength, but like that mother dear, I am trying to compose this stotra because I want to praise you. I want to bow down at your lotus feet. I possess little knowledge and therefore I am an object of ridicule to the scholars, but your bhakti makes me to sing hymns in praise of you. This is very good. See, the original, if you slightly probably know. Alpasrutam srutavatam parihasadham. Alpasrutam, that means I am not a learned person. I know very little. Srutavatam parihasadham. Even the scholars, when I go and sit with them, Srutavatam parihasadham, they will ridicule me. They will laugh at me. So why I am doing this? I am not a knowledgeable person, but why I am doing this? Tvad bhakti reva mukhari kurute balanma. Because of your bhakti, because of the devotion, I just speak. It makes me speak. I have no capacity. But because of the bhakti, because of the devotion, because I want to sing a song in praise of you. I just sing. The words are coming from my mouth. And there is a comparison. This is like a cuckoo, coil, who in springtime suddenly starts singing with a sweet voice on seeing the mango sprouts. Mango season chala tare. Coil starts singing in the season of spring. Suddenly. So I am also suddenly trying to sing, trying to compose this stotra. Oh, my Lord. And he says that I have no knowledge. I can't do anything. Even the other scholars might ridicule me. But because I am your devotee, because I am your bhakta, the words are automatically coming from my mouth, coming from my heart. See, this humility, the way he describes himself and the Lord Adinath is worth understanding. We must be very, very, very humble when we sit down and recite something, when we sit down and worship our Lord, worship Tirthankar Bhagwanta, or when we go to a temple and worship. There must not be any ego, nothing in our mind. We must feel that I am very humble, I am nothing, and I am just surrendering at the lotus feet of Tirthankar Bhagwan. Right. Tvat sanstavena bhava santati.
त्वतसंस्तवेन भव सन्तति सन्निबद्धम् पापं क्षणात् क्षयं पैति शरीरभाजाम् आक्रान्तलोकमलिनीलमशेषमासु सूर्यांशु भिन्न विमसार्वरमन्धकारम् मत्वेति नाथ तव संस्तवनं मयेद मारभ्यते तनुधियापि तव प्रभावात् चेतो हरिष्यति सतां नलिनीदलेषु मुक्ता फलद्युतिमुपैति ननूदबिन्दु.
Now, as we go along, you will see the power of Tirthankar Bhagwan and how author, the poet describes it. O Lord, by singing your hymn, the sins of mortals which have been accumulated in various births is automatically annihilated. Just as the rays of the sun dispel the darkness of the night, even if it was as black as the bumblebee. What happens by singing this song, by singing, by praising, by worshipping? What happens? The sins, our pap, our sin, our bad deeds, which have been accumulated in various births, automatically annihilated, automatically destroyed. And how it is destroyed? Imagine sun rays come down. It dispels the darkness of the night. Similarly, my sins are destroyed when I sing this song of praise, this hymn, this verse, this sloka. Now, the poet says one more thing. I have composed this verse with the belief that though I have less intelligence, this work of mine will attract the attention of noble people. Now, he has got some confidence, Mantungachari. He says that, all right, I'm not very intelligent person, but what I am doing will attract the attention of noble people. And see how he compares his act. Imagine a drop of water on a leaf. You might see a leaf on the tree and a drop of water just hanging. It looks like that, oh, it will fall in a minute, it will fall in few seconds. Now that drop of water, when sun shines on it, will look like a pearl, isn't it? So see the comparison here. What I am going to do now, that's what poet says. It's like a drop of water on the leaf. But for other people, it will seem like a beautiful, beautiful pearl. Why? Why it will look like a pearl? Because this song is not an ordinary song. It is in praise of you, my Lord. That is why the importance of the song will increase, and even the drop of water will look like a pearl. So, whatever I am going to do here, it will look like a beautiful, beautiful narration. Astam.
आस्तां तव स्तवनमस्तसमस्तदोषम् त्वत्सङ्कतापि जगतां दुरितानि हन्ति दूरे सहस्रकिरणः कुरुते प्रभैव पद्माकरेषु जलजानि विकासभाञ्जी नात्युद्भुतं भुवनभूषणभूतनाथ भूतैर्गुणैर्भुवि भवन्तं विष्टुवन्तः तुल्या भवन्ति भवतो ननु तेन किं वा भूत्याश्रितं यः ह्यनात्मसमं करोति.
Beautiful. Let alone your stotra, which can destroy all the faults. Just the narration of your life can annihilate all the sins. See, you might have read this in Uvasagram Stotra. The poet in that Uvasagram Stotra, he of course praises Pasnath Bhagwan. He says it doesn't matter about the mantra and everything, forget about all those. Just bowing down at your lotus feet, just coming to the temple and seeing you is enough to destroy my sins. Here also, let alone your stotra, which can destroy all the faults. Doesn't matter. If I do not sing, if I do not know the meaning, just the narration of your life can annihilate all the sins. Tvat sankathapi jagatam duritani yanti. The narration of your life, just remembering you, just thinking about you, just reading about you, will destroy my sin. Now, see the comparison here. The sun makes the lotus buds in the lakes bloom at dawn, even though it is millions of miles away. How far is sun from the earth? 130 million miles, I suppose, isn't it? 13 crore. So, sun is that far, 130 million miles away from the earth. But in the morning, when sun shines, when you see sunrise, what happens? Suddenly the flowers bloom. Lotus buds, you will see it, beautiful petals and everything. It will bloom at dawn. Now the sun, which is millions and millions and millions of miles away, can do that. Your name and the compassion which is flowing from your eyes, even though you are millions and millions and millions of miles away, but that will, destroy my sins and that will enlighten me. I am so pleased that, oh Lord, although you are millions of miles away, when I worship you, my life will change. Similarly, these lotus buds, you see in the morning, even though the sun is 130 million miles away. Oh, the Lord of beings. Before I give you the meaning, let's go back. See this Natyad Bhutam Bhuvan Bhushan Bhutanatha Bhuter Gunir Bhuvi Bhavantam Abhishtuvanta Tulya Bhavanti Bhavato Nanute Nakimva Prutyasritam Yen Atma Samam Karoti. I want to draw your attention here. See, letter Bhu, BHU, and Bhu. How many times you can see it here? If you count, Bhutam, Bhuvan, Bhuvana, Bhusana, Bhutanatha, Bhuter, Bhuvi, Bhavantu, here again BH, here BH, and here BH. Bha, 11 times. Now, this explains how beautifully this has been composed. It doesn't happen accidentally. It's called alankar in the original language, the gem in the poetry. You have to compose in such a way that it adds to the beauty of the composition. Now, when you sing it, Natyadbhutam Bhuvana Bhushana Bhutanatha Bhuter Guner Bhuvi Bhavantam Abhishtuvanta. This was the capacity of poet, how he is composing this thing and how difficult it must have been. So it's not just 14 letters in each line. The gems, alankar here, are also very beautiful. So the meaning of it now. O the Lord of all beings, Bhutanatha, O the jewel of the universe, Bhuvana Bhushana. It is not surprising that people who praise you become virtuous, adorned with merits like yourself. What is the use of him who does not make others who have taken refuge unto him as prosperous as himself? Those who surrender at your lotus feet become virtuous. It happens, isn't it? When we worship the Lord, when our mind is in the bhakti, in the devotion, day and night, and when we remember Him all the time, we will become virtuous. Our vices would go away. Because it says here, what's the use of him who does not make others as prosperous as himself? So we will become as prosperous. Now, this prosperity is not the prosperity of in terms of money or material goods. Prosperity in terms of good virtues. We will become as prosperous as Tirthankar Bhagwan. So, if you worship him every day, if you praise him, if you sit down and meditate every day, you would become virtuous. Your kasai will go away. Kasai will be destroyed. What are the kasais? Man, maya, lobh, krodh, anger, greed, illusion, ego. These things will go away when you worship regularly. If you worship regularly, these things will go away. We'll take two more. दृष्ट्वा भवन्तमन्वेष्य विलो
भवन्निमेषविलोकनीयम् नान्यत्र तोऽसमपायति जनस्य चक्षु पीत्वा पयससिकरद्युतिदुग्धसिन्धो क्षारं जलं जलनिधेरसितं कुइच्छेत् यहि शान्तरागरुचिभिः परमाणुभिस्त्वं निर्मापितस्त्रिभुवनैकललामभूत तावन्त एव खलु ते प्रणवः पृथिव्यां यत्ते समानपरं न हि रूपमस्ति.
People's eyes do not get any satisfaction elsewhere once they have seen you with their unblinking eyes. If you see Lord continuously with unblinking eyes, you will be so satisfied. And your eyes will not get any satisfaction elsewhere after seeing Lord's image. Who would like to taste the salty water of an ordinary sea after drinking the water of the milky ocean, shining like the rays of the moon? If you drink a beautiful drink, water from the milky ocean, Dugdha Sindhu, you would like it so much that you would not go and drink the water, salty water of ordinary sea. Would you drink that? No, you wouldn't. You would not drink it because you have tasted the water of that milky ocean. So see the comparison. Once you see Lord's face and once you are immersed in his bhakti, you would not like anything else. Because you will think that, oh, that's like a salty water. After drinking beautiful water, after eating some nice food, if somebody gives you something rotten, something old, something, not very good, tasteless, you wouldn't like it. Similarly, you would not like to go anywhere else after seeing Lord Adinath Bhagwan, after seeing the Tirthankar Bhagwan. O jewel in the crown of three worlds, in this universe, certainly there are only as many atoms possessing the melodious peace, Santaragaruchi, as you are formed of, because there is no one as elegant as yourself. What is saying? That I can't see anyone as good as you, as great as you, as elegant as you, and as peaceful as you. I can't see anyone. It's only one you. Because you have been made of certain atoms, and these atoms have come to you. Oh, in this universe, certainly there are only as many atoms possessing the melodious peace as you are formed of. See how he has described Lord Tirthankara, Adinath Bhagwan. There were only say certain amount of atoms in the universe. These atoms were the atoms of peace, beautiful form, handsome person's face and everything, strength and all these things. These atoms were there. And you have been made of all those good atoms. So there are no other atoms left anywhere. They have come to you. So you dwell in the crown of the three worlds. So these first 12 verses, what we have learned, the first thing the poet does is saying that I am a very humble person. I have no capacity. I'm not very intelligent person. My knowledge is limited. But, oh Lord, I have come to you. And who are you? Oh Lord, your prowess is great. That this is like a sun. The rays coming from millions and millions and millions of miles and making these flowers bloom. This is the way it happens in my mind too. Because even though you are millions of miles away or maybe billions of miles away, I am very happy in doing all this because your grace, your amidrashti will fall on me and all my sins will be destroyed. My pap will go away. And remember how I am doing all this. Even though I am not a capable person, even though I am not a scholar, I am doing because I love you, I adore you, I am your bhakta. And that's why automatically these words are coming from my mouth. So this is what is happening. Now, next week we'll see that in other slokas, the other, different types of composition, different type of comparisons have been given. Comparing Lord with sun, comparing Lord with moon, how we can destroy our fears. And I will also explain how we can meditate on this composition, because the way it has been described in certain slokas, we have to just think about Lord Adinath how he's sitting, what is happening around him, how he's giving his discourse, and all these things. And you will immerse yourself. You will forget about your existence even, and you will think that you are seeing Lord Adinath in front of you. So this has been composed by Mantungacharya, an Acharya who lived during 7th century in the kingdom of King Harsh. So Mantungacharya. The story goes like this. Mantungacharya was imprisoned, so to speak. 44 or 48 chains were bound. He was tied up completely. And to show the power of Jain religion, he started composing this stotra. He started composing this Bhaktamar Stotra poem. And one by one, each chain was broken. And he freed himself. The king and the people in the kingdom saw this, and they realized the power of the Jain literature, Jain Stotra. Now, what I'm going to advise you, or rather say, that when you sing these 44 or 48 verses, what should happen? Of course, we are not tied. No one has tied us. We can't see all these chains around us, can we? Yes, no one has imprisoned us here. You might say that we are all free, but no, we are not free. The things around us, this samsara, the worries, ego, everything, these things are in our mind all the time. There are so many problems, so many things, tension, and other difficulties. So when we sing this Bhaktamar Stotra, we have to forget about our existence. And we have to think that I am sitting in front of Lord Adinath. I am praising him. And slowly, because of the humility, because we become so polite that our vices will be destroyed, will melt away. And we'll truly feel happy. That inner happiness will come. And we'll see that, oh, I'm so glad that I have learned this. I'm so glad that I'm reciting this and I feel blissful. So we will see more gathas in the second lecture and then in the third lecture. And of course, we'll finish all 44, 48 gathas. And as we go along, I will explain those gems, alankar in the poetry. How beautiful are they? How beautiful the composition is there. And what is the end result? And then I'll explain the mantras. Because mantras got power. Mantras got healing power. It is said that our ailments, diseases can go away on reciting these slokas, reciting these verses, and chanting those mantras. So that is what also we will do. Kavit bhai, anything anyone wants to know further in this first lecture?
So there was a question. You mentioned that there is temples dedicated to the Bhaktambar Stotra. Are you able to give us some of the place names for these temples?
Two I know right now, and I remember right now. One is in Surat, in South Gujarat, and one is in Samet Sikhar. It's a, Samet Sikhar,
Yes.
one of the most important places of pilgrimage. It's on the mountain. There is a, but that is in Samet Sikhar town, not on the mountain. But the whole temple has been dedicated for this Bhaktamar Stotra. Everything has been carved out on the marble plates, and you will see there. But there are more temples too, which right now I'm not aware of it. But if I know something more about it, I will share it next week. Yeah, but these are beautiful temples, and you will see the murti of Adinath Bhagwan and the murti of Mantung Suri, both here. Let me see. I had one photograph here, just very quickly. I don't know whether you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Mantungacharya.
Yes.
Tied with the chain.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah. So that is in Samet Sikhar. That temple.
I have Hasmukh Bhai has just said the Derasar in Baharuch, which is near Baroda.
Yeah, Bharuch maybe, yeah.
Bharuch, yeah.
Maybe Bharuch also has it, but Surat has it. I know that, yeah.
Geeta Ben has asked.
Sorry.
Geeta Ben has asked, what is the best time to recite the Bhaktambar Stotra? Is there like a set time, morning, evening?
Right, yeah. Very important and beautiful question, I should say. When I was learning Bhaktamar Stotra and when I was doing my PhD about Nausmarana, at that time I was working. And all I could do is find time in the evenings and the weekends. And that's how I learned. And it has given me immense pleasure. PhD is nothing. It has given me pleasure. Atmano Anand, my Lord. So my personal recommendation is that this stotra is in praise of Tirthankar Bhagwant. There is no harm in reciting at any time. Of course, some people say that you have to do it in the morning and no other time and all that time. But I always say that Bhagwannu Naam Levama koi vantho nathi. There is no objection and there is no set time when you want to recite Bhagwan, when you want to remember him, and when you want to just, do meditation. Any time is a good time.
So one of the things I think you mentioned is that the Bhaktambar Stotra has healing powers. So could we also say that this is a good thing to recite to people who are not well?
Yes. Of course, we will explore it a bit more in the second or third lecture, yeah. But mantras got power. The way it is recited, how these mantras are composed, it carries certain power. So two things. You must recite it properly and you must have faith.
Yes.
When I say faith, it's not blind faith. See, if I got any ailment or something wrong in my body, I should not think that because I'm doing this, it will go away, everything will go away. It may not happen. We must have self-confidence, and that self-confidence will help us in healing. And that Shraddha, the faith in God, will help us in healing. But otherwise, we also know that our karmas, that play their own role. Yeah. So no blind faith, but have confidence. Do all the mantras, do everything by the grace of God. It will help us. It will help us cure all the ailments, cure all diseases. Yeah. I believe there were some lectures in Oswald Association about the healing power of Bhaktamar Stotra.
Yes.
I read quite a bit about it, but I always say that have faith, but no blind faith.
Just a clarification from Hasmukh to say that Baruch is not far from Surat. I think that's what you mentioned.
Baruch is not far from Surat.
Yeah.
I know it's more
Okay.
nearer to Surat than Baroda, actually. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have one more question. It says, how do you the recitation, make sure that you're doing the recitation correctly? So uchcharan apne kahe na, how the words are and everything, because of course in English it sounds different, and then in Gujarati or Hindi or whatever it sounds different.
Yeah. It requires practice, of course, yeah, because it's composed in Sanskrit language, which is very ancient language. It's beautiful language. It's perfect phonetic language, everything, but requires practice, like Bhuvana, Bhushana, Bhutanatha, and Bhakta Mara Pranata Mauli Mani Prabhanam Dyotakam Dalita Papatamo Vitanam. When you start learning, of course, you will make mistakes. That's natural. But then you have to just repeat and go on reciting, or go and see someone who can check your pronunciation and correct you. But it's right. Yeah, I mean, one thing I can guarantee you and guarantee everyone that you will be happy if you learn this thing. You won't regret it. That's my guarantee.
And with any mantras, stotras, and we start off with trying to recite ourselves, and like you said, it's good to then get somebody to check that you're doing the right ucharans, you're right, saying the right words. But there's nothing wrong if you say it wrong, but then try and get it right.
Try and get it right. I mean, ask someone like JSP or myself, I remember one person was coming to me every week. I mean, he could not read Sanskrit, of course. It was all written in English alphabet, But he was so determined that he was coming to me that, no, Vinodbhai, I want to pronounce everything correctly. Please check. And I was sitting with him, and guiding him. So, of course, it takes time, but uh, you, you can do it. Of course, anybody can do it. Yeah.
I've just been told by Sarita Ben, there are classes by Neela Ben to help pronounce and learn the stotras. So if anybody do get in touch with Sandeep Bhai or ourselves, and we'll try and get you in touch if you wanted to learn these stotras and things. Darshana, do we have any questions from your side?
We do. We've got one from Nick. and he's asking about a couple of verses. In verse 3, it is described as a shameful act if an ignorant devotee expresses his devotion in the best way he can do. But then in verse 7, it goes on to say that his devotion will make the stotra meaningful.
Yeah, because he's trying to compare his act with different things. Then he says shameful. He was comparing, I believe it was like a mother deer, wasn't it? Or trying to see moon in the, trying to grab the moon, which is a shameful act also, because you can't touch moon. But then mother explains that little child that, oh, see the moon is in the plate, in the water. Child can see it. And the child is trying to grab, trying to get hold of the moon. So these are some shameful acts. But because he's so devoted, because he wants to compose this thing, see, when he said that because I want to do it, words are coming from my mouth automatically. I'm composing this automatically, And it is said also in the story of Mantungacharya that everything came out just automatically, I mean, he wasn't probably, as far as we know, as far as we read, he wasn't taking pen and paper and everything and composing and counting that, oh, there are 14 letters in each and everything. Some of our acharyas were so knowledgeable, so clever, You'll be surprised that they could compose this poetry, just without thinking too much. Even Srimad Rajchandra composed Atma Siddhi Shastra, 142 verses, in what, 1.5 hour? Yeah, it says that Ambala Albe was holding a lantern and Srimad Rajchandra started composing him and Ambala Albe was writing. So it's unbelievable how they were doing it, It's sometimes I think that how it is possible, but they were doing it. So that is why I'm saying. And one small thing, sometimes I know I lecture in various organizations and other things in various places. Before my lecture, I think that, oh, it might be difficult and I won't be able to say this and do this and that thing. Or I might not remember this thing. But when I start speaking, everything flows out, everything comes, and then afterward, I'm always surprised. Oh, how did I remember all these things? And then I can only say one thing, because I was talking about Bhagwan, I was talking about our Tirthankara. That is the reason I could speak and deliver my lecture. Otherwise, I would not have done that.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions.
I
Thank
think
you so much.
there isn't any further questions from anybody else. But please, for next session, if you do have questions, please do ask either in the chat or even if you want to ask in person. Vinodbhai is a treasure of knowledge, and we need to, drink that treasure up as much as we can. So for today, I think we can bring the session to a close. Vinodbhai, if you want to say the last prayer or anything, then we can close the session.
No, it's okay. Yeah, just if I have said anything against the Jain religious principles, like Jinagna Vritkaskavayo, to Michhami Dukula. Okay.
Yeah, we'll bring this session to a close. Thank you very much, Vinodbhai. absolutely enlightened with this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
सकल विश्वना नाथ हे प्रभु शरण आवियो आबाळता हरो अधिक बुद्धि तू शुद्ध आपजे प्रभु कृपा करी कष्ट कापजे नव कदी करी भक्ति भाव थी नव कथा सुनी निज कान थी स्मरण ना कर्યું तेम ताहरू नाथ भलु थशे केम माहरू बहु बहु कुड़ा कर्म में किधा धन धुति करी पार का लिधा गरीब रंक ने दुख आपिया तरु सुधर्मना देह कापिया अधिक लोभनी लालचे फसी फिकर ना धरी चित्त मां कशी कथन कई कुड़ा में मुखे कर्या वचन नीतिना सर्व विसर्या करवडे कदी धर्म ना कर्या पण अधर्म ना कोथळा भर्या जगतनाथ हूँ डर्यो नहीं जरी अनेक पाप में संसार मां कर्या चरण थी कदी चाली ना गयो प्रभु सुपंथ मां दूर तो रह्यो चरण पाप ने पंथ तो धर्यो दीन विषे नहीं ते थकी डर्यो छल प्रपंच ने धूर्त काम नव कदी मुकी ओ छप हाम अधम जातनो प्राणी हो खरो प्रभु तू थी रह्यो सर्वदा परो कर गमे तने जे प्रभु हवे अहीं बळू छूं पाप संताप मां दुख थी दूरे नाथ जी करो अर्ज बाळनी दिल मां धरो सकळ विश्वना